This is my prime example of people that's puppet masters trying to control the narrative.
It now appears if she wants to run for supervisor again, it will have to be as a write-in candidate.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dolton, Illinois, is watching her political career crumble amid allegations of lavish spending and questionable leadership. Once seen as a formidable force in local politics, Henyard's rapid downfall has left even her staunchest supporters stunned. As controversy surrounds her tenure, many are questioning whether this is the final chapter for one of Illinois' most polarizing political figures. Tiffany Henyard's political ambitions suffered a major setback during a high-stakes Democratic caucus for Thornton Township, the first in decades to replace a traditional primary. Serving as both Thornton Township supervisor and mayor of Dolton, Henyard aimed to secure her spot on the 2024 ballot, but was disqualified after failing to present a full slate of candidates for key roles like assessor and trustee. Without a certified assessor on her ticket, her candidacy was deemed invalid, a move that left Henyard fuming as she accused her opponents of sabotage. The chaotic caucus, held at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium, drew hundreds of attendees braving the cold to witness the dramatic showdown, marking a significant blow to Henyard's dual-role political career. Tensions ran high inside the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium as State Senator Napoleon Harris, who also serves as the Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman, skillfully orchestrated the proceedings. Harris, who entered the race for township supervisor, emerged victorious, clinching the Democratic nomination and effectively shutting Tiffany Henyard out of the 2024 race. The announcement of Harris's win sparked jeers and taunts from the crowd, many of whom directed their disdain at Henyard. In a moment of public humiliation, attendees broke into a mocking chant of "Na na na, hey hey, kiss him goodbye," underscoring the magnitude of her defeat. For Henyard, it was more than just a political loss. It symbolized the collapse of her once formidable hold on local power, a public and resounding political mic drop.
Democratic caucus works right here in Thornton Township. You can also say that she flunked out because her name is not appearing on the ballot.
Tiffany Henyard's political career suffered a major blow during a historic and contentious Democratic caucus for Thornton Township. For the first time in decades, the party opted for a caucus instead of a primary to select its nominees, significantly raising the stakes. Henyard, who serves as both Thornton Township supervisor and mayor of Dolton, aimed to secure her spot on the 2024 ballot, but faced a stunning setback when her name was barred from the ballot entirely. The disqualification stemmed from her failure to present a full slate of candidates for key roles such as assessor and trustee. Without a certified assessor on her ticket, her candidacy was ruled invalid, prompting Henyard to accuse her opponents of foul play. The caucus, held at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium, was marked by chaos and high tensions as hundreds of attendees braved the cold to witness a dramatic political showdown. Inside the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium, State Senator Napoleon Harris, who also serves as the Thornton Township Democratic Committeeman, expertly orchestrated the proceedings. Having entered the race for township supervisor, Harris emerged victorious, securing the Democratic nomination and effectively ending Tiffany Henyard's bid for re-election. But it wasn't applause for Harris that filled the room. It was jeers and taunts aimed squarely at Henyard. The crowd mocked her with chants of "Na na na, hey hey, kiss him goodbye," turning the announcement into a moment of public humiliation. For Henyard, the loss was more than just an electoral defeat. It was a crushing blow to her political clout, punctuated by what many saw as the definitive political mic drop. Tiffany Henyard's latest political defeat was more than a routine setback. It was a public humiliation that sent shockwaves through Dolton, Illinois, and deepened the crisis surrounding her embattled leadership. Once seen as a rising political star, Henyard now faces mounting criticism from disillusioned residents frustrated with her dual roles as mayor of Dolton and Thornton Township supervisor. Tiffany Henyard is taking up her quarters in Dolton and Thornton Township supervisor. Her removal from the 2024 ballot exposed critical flaws in her political strategy and fueled public outrage over her leadership style, alleged corruption, and perceived misuse of taxpayer funds. Critics swiftly capitalized on the moment, calling it further proof of her unraveling political career. Social media lit up with scathing commentary reflecting the growing anger among Dolton residents. "Dolton, please vote as early as you can. Everyone vote. Make it too big to rig. Get her out of there," one resident posted online, capturing the shared sentiment of a community that feels abandoned by its leader. Money and power corrupt. The more power, the more corruption, one commenter remarked, capturing the growing public perception of Tiffany Henyard as a self-serving politician. Her latest political defeat has only widened the rift between Henyard and her constituents, many of whom are fed up with allegations of financial mismanagement and lavish spending under her leadership. Frustrations have been fueled by incidents like her controversial $43,000 Amazon shopping spree and reports of taxpayer-funded luxury trips. Critics argue that her fixation on self-promotion and her combative supermayor persona has come at the expense of addressing Dolton's most pressing issues, including crumbling public services, rising crime rates, and a ballooning budget deficit. Further eroding public trust is an ongoing FBI investigation into her administration's alleged misuse of funds, a development that has only intensified voter discontent and calls for accountability. For many residents, the allegations against Tiffany Henyard have cemented the belief that her leadership prioritizes personal gain over public service. This growing sense of betrayal has galvanized her critics, who accuse her of fostering a culture of arrogance and entitlement. Her combative exchanges with Dolton's trustees and residents have only deepened the divide between her and the community she was elected to serve. The frustration extends far beyond social media, spilling into the streets of Dolton, where residents are grappling with the tangible consequences of her leadership. Declining public services and eroding trust in local government have left many feeling neglected and disillusioned, amplifying calls for change. Calls for accountability and change are growing louder as residents demand leaders who prioritize the community's needs over personal ambition. Tiffany Henyard's removal from the ballot has emboldened her critics and reignited efforts to usher in new leadership, marking a potential turning point in Dolton's political landscape. For many voters, her defeat has become a rallying cry, a chance to reclaim the town's future from what they see as self-serving leadership. With mounting scrutiny on Henyard's administration, community demands for change have become impossible to ignore. This latest setback could signal the beginning of the end for one of the most controversial figures in Dolton's political history. Stanley Dolton, author of The Middle Course After Life, The Outdoor Preservation Secrets of the Dolton Family.
Renewed calls for a change at the top in South Suburban Dolton.
Of course, we are talking about Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
To understand the dramatic fall of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, it's essential to look back at her early days as a rising star in local politics. Initially admired for her ambition and hailed as a transformative leader, Henyard embraced the title of supermayor while balancing the dual roles of Dolton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor. This combination gave her significant power and influence, but it also made her a target for scrutiny. Over time, cracks began to show in her carefully constructed image, as critics began questioning her motives and accusing her of putting personal gain above public service. Allegations of financial misconduct, embezzlement, and excessive spending soon followed, damaging her reputation as a dedicated leader. Reports revealed a troubling pattern of lavish expenses allegedly funded by taxpayer money, including extravagant trips, luxury meals, and personal beauty services charged to public accounts, all of which sparked outrage among Dolton residents. One particularly shocking revelation exposed that Henyard had charged over $33,000 to Amazon in a single day, a staggering sum in a town where the median household income is just over $24,000. For many struggling residents, her spending wasn't just inappropriate, it was deeply offensive. She's living like a queen while we're struggling to get by. One frustrated resident said, capturing the sense of betrayal felt by a community that had hoped for a leader who understood their struggles. As these allegations piled up, Henyard's image as a capable supermayor began to unravel. Critics accused her of prioritizing self-promotion and personal luxury while ignoring the needs of her constituents. Her administration became increasingly clouded by controversy, marked by questionable financial choices, a lack of transparency, and what many perceived as a disregard for the everyday challenges facing residents. The dual roles that once showcased her ambition and capability were now seen as symbols of overreach and mismanagement. For a town already struggling with financial difficulties and crumbling public services, Henyard's alleged misuse of public funds felt like a profound betrayal. Residents began to see her as a leader who had lost touch with their realities, prioritizing personal indulgence over the well-being of the community. As the criticisms mounted, they painted a stark picture of a politician who had overextended herself while accumulating scandals at every turn. With public trust fading and scrutiny intensifying, Henyard's once promoting political career began to unravel. Her fall from grace, marked by allegations of corruption and a growing disconnect from the community, seemed all but inevitable. What remains of her legacy is a trail of broken promises, unanswered questions, and a community now determined to hold its leaders accountable for the future of Dolton.
We're waiting Mayor Henyard to arrive. We'll give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no explanation.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tenure has been marked by a series of controversies and financial missteps, leaving Dolton reeling and her leadership under intense scrutiny. Once seen as a bold and ambitious leader, Henyard's dramatic fall from grace has encompassed allegations of financial mismanagement, abrasive leadership, and a growing disconnect from the community she was elected to serve. Her financial troubles came to a head following a preliminary investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, hired as a special investigator to examine Dolton's finances. Lightfoot revealed that the town's general fund had plummeted from a healthy balance of over $5 million in 2022 to a shocking deficit of nearly $4 million by mid-2024. Describing the situation as dire, Lightfoot pointed to Henyard's spending habits as a key factor in the collapse, with eyebrow-raising expenses including police overtime payouts that defied all logic, raising further concerns about fiscal management under her leadership. Some officers earned more in overtime than their annual salaries, with one officer reportedly taking home over $100,000 in overtime alone, in addition to their regular pay. These findings painted a stark picture of fiscal irresponsibility, fueling outrage among residents already dealing with a town in financial distress. Henyard's personal spending habits also came under scrutiny, with reports detailing extravagant expenses, including lavish trips, luxury dinners, and even personal beauty services charged to public accounts. The most notorious incident involved Henyard charging over $33,000 to Amazon in a single day, a staggering amount that infuriated residents. In a town where the median household income is just over $24,000, such spending was not only inappropriate but deeply offensive. "She's living like a queen while we're struggling to get by," one frustrated resident said, capturing the widespread feeling of betrayal. Henyard's leadership style further alienated her colleagues and constituents, further eroding the trust and support she once enjoyed. Trustees on the Dolton Village Board openly criticized Henyard's approach, accusing her of running the town like a dictatorship. Tensions between Henyard and the trustees reached a breaking point during several public meetings, where she was frequently seen berating her colleagues and dismissing their concerns. At one particularly heated meeting, she infamously declared, "You all forget, I'm the leader. They want to hear from the mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing." This comment only reinforced her image as a leader, disconnected from the principles of collaboration and accountability. Her abrasive leadership style and relentless drive for power further isolated her. Critics pointed to her self-proclaimed title as the Super Mayor, which was meant to highlight her dual roles as both Dolton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor. What was initially viewed as a testament to her ambition and capability quickly became a symbol of overreach and mismanagement. The once bald leader now appeared as someone who had overextended herself, prioritizing power and self-promotion over the needs of her constituents. The financial mismanagement and leadership controversies left many Dolton residents feeling deeply betrayed. Social media became a hotbed of fiery commentary, with voters venting their frustrations and demanding change. "Dolton, please vote as early as you can. Everyone vote. Make it too big to rig. Get her out of there," one disgruntled resident urged. Another remarked, "Money and power corrupt. The more power, the more corruption," succinctly capturing the growing perception of Henyard as a leader detached from the needs of her community. This discontent wasn't confined to online platforms. It was palpable on the streets of Dolton. Residents voiced their anger over declining public services, a ballooning budget deficit, and a general erosion of trust in local government. Allegations of excessive spending, self-serving decisions, and financial mismanagement only deepened their sense of betrayal. Adding to the turmoil, Henyard's administration became the focus of an ongoing FBI investigation into the alleged misuse of funds. This, combined with Lightfoot's findings, further shattered public trust. For many, the financial collapse and scandals served as clear evidence of a leader more focused on personal gain than public service. Henyard's fall from grace wasn't just about financial missteps. It was also about broken promises. When she first took office, she presented herself as a champion of the people, vowing to revitalize Dolton and bring prosperity to its residents. However, her tenure revealed a starkly different reality. Allegations of corruption, lack of transparency, and a refusal to collaborate with the village board overshadowed any potential progress. Critics accused her of fostering a culture of arrogance and entitlement, which was evident both in her public persona and the actions of her administration. Lavish spending on personal luxuries, coupled with her dismissive attitude toward colleagues and constituents, fueled a growing sense of disillusionment within the community. What was once seen as ambition and confidence is now viewed as hubris and detachment. Henyard's troubles have galvanized her critics and empowered the community to demand change. Many residents view this moment as an opportunity to reclaim Dolton's future and elect new leadership capable of addressing the town's urgent issues. Calls for accountability are growing louder, with voters determined to make their voices heard in the upcoming elections. The political landscape in Dolton is shifting, and Henyard's fall from grace has become a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked power and fiscal mismanagement. While her decline has left behind a trail of unanswered questions and broken trust, it has also sparked a renewed resolve among residents to hold their leaders accountable and push for better governance.
7 minutes. That's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to be out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township Supervisor, and she left here visibly upset.
Tiffany Henyard's political career, once hailed as trailblazing, has become a focal point for controversy, legal battles, and public backlash. As the first Black woman to serve as mayor of Dolton, Henyard initially received praise for breaking barriers. However, a series of alleged financial missteps, abrasive leadership decisions, and personal conflicts have overshadowed her tenure. With her political future hanging by a thread, Henyard's downfall serves as a cautionary tale of ambition gone wrong. One of the most damaging revelations of her administration is the financial crisis plaguing Dolton. A preliminary investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot uncovered troubling details about the village's finances. According to Lightfoot, Dolton's general fund, which had a healthy balance of over $5 million in 2022, had plunged into a deficit of nearly $4 million by mid-2024. Lightfoot, hired as a special investigator to assess the situation, described the findings as dire. Much of the financial turmoil in Dolton was attributed to Henyard's excessive spending, including questionable expenses like exorbitant police overtime payouts. One officer, for example, reportedly earned over $100,000 in overtime in addition to their regular salary. These instances of fiscal mismanagement painted a bleak picture of unchecked spending and inadequate oversight under Henyard's leadership. Beyond the financial scandals, Henyard's leadership style also came under intense scrutiny. Her abrasive, autocratic approach to governance alienated both colleagues and constituents. Members of the Dolton Village Board openly accused her of running the town like a dictatorship, and tensions frequently erupted during public meetings, where Henyard was seen berating trustees and dismissing their concerns. One particularly heated meeting made headlines when Henyard famously declared, "You all forget I'm the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. You all ain't learned that yet. The mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing." The statement only intensified the perception that Henyard was disconnected from the principles of collaborative governance, further eroding trust among board members and the public. Her troubles didn't end with financial and leadership controversies. Henyard became embroiled in a bitter legal dispute with the Dolton Park District, which accused her administration of withholding permits for vital park improvement projects. These projects, funded by significant grants, were delayed, and park officials claimed they were being targeted for allowing Henyard's political opponents to hold meetings on park property. The situation escalated when reports revealed that Henyard's administration had issued thousands of dollars in citations to the park district for routine maintenance tasks such as spreading mulch on playgrounds and installing new equipment, tasks that had previously gone unchallenged. Critics labeled these actions as petty and vindictive, implying that Henyard was using her authority to settle personal scores. Cleo Jones, president of the Dolton Park District, expressed her frustration publicly. "Every year, we replenish the mulch in the park to ensure the kids are playing on a safe surface. Now we're being punished for it because of political games." This controversy only deepened residents' concerns about how political conflicts were disrupting public services and diminishing the quality of life in Dolton. The combination of Henyard's financial mismanagement, combative leadership, and ongoing legal battles has led to a growing wave of public frustration. Residents, already disillusioned by stalled public projects and a lack of progress on community improvements, have started openly calling for her resignation. Rumors of a potential recall effort are gaining momentum, signaling that Henyard's position as mayor is increasingly at risk. Additionally, her name was removed from the Democratic ballot for Thornton Township supervisor, leaving her with the slim and unlikely hope of holding onto the position through a write-in campaign, a rare and difficult feat. The rise and fall of Tiffany Henyard presents a striking contrast to the promising beginnings of her political career. Once hailed as a trailblazer for becoming Dolton's first Black female mayor, Henyard now finds herself embroiled in legal battles, facing intense public backlash and losing political influence. What was once a bright future has become overshadowed by allegations of mismanagement and divisive leadership. As Henyard's political star fades, questions about her legacy and future loom large. Has she fallen victim to political sabotage, or has her downfall been the result of poor decision-making and a failure to prioritize the needs of her community? With her leadership under constant scrutiny and calls for her resignation growing louder, her path forward is fraught with obstacles. Can she rebuild her reputation and regain the trust of her constituents, or is her fate sealed? Share your thoughts below and stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.